On April 28, 2001, the television program SpongeBob SquarePants aired the episode Squidville, in which the next-door neighbor gets fed up and moves to a more like-minded community. 4 years later, on April 15, 2005, The Simpsons aired Home Away from Homer, in which the next-door neighbor similarly gets upset and moves to his own like-minded community. Both series feature yellow main characters with a childlike sense of wonder. And both are their network's longest-running animated series, even still making episodes today. Is this just a coincidence? Did The Simpsons lift an idea from the hot new Nickelodeon sensation? Did The Simpsons do it, or was it SpongeBob the entire time? So this is an odd case, because I wonder if my viewers are more familiar with this Season 2 SpongeBob than this Season 16 Simpsons. Me, I didn't know Squidville at all. This was suggested by a savvy YouTube commenter. In fact, I have literally never watched a SpongeBob episode before today. Because of this, I have done so much SpongeBob research to ensure I get all the pertinent details correct. Now, these episodes center around Ned Flanders and Squidward. Although they serve as the neighbor character on their respective series, their personalities are quite different. Squidward is sarcastic and cynical, Flanders is polite and optimistic. Squidward hates his neighbor, Flanders loves thy neighbor. Squidward sleeps in a big bed with his clarinet, Flanders' wife is dead. See, totally different characters. The other glaring difference is that SpongeBob episodes are only 11 minutes long, whereas The Simpsons are twice that. Therefore, the Simpsons version contains several additional plot elements to expand upon the themes and fill out the runtime. For example, The Simpsons spends Act 1 going to this artsy movie theater and having Ned babysit to get things going, whereas SpongeBob goes straight into the main conflict. Both episodes play upon the destruction of their neighbor's house, in one case literally, and the other figuratively. And both are kinda sorta unintentional. Marge helpfully suggests Ned rent out a room for extra income, which ultimately opens the door to sexy web streams. In the case of SpongeBob, he and Patrick are playing around with these reef blowers and cleaning their houses with them. They decide to do the same to Squidward's. The key difference is that Ned is totally in the dark during Act 1, whereas Squidward clearly knows what's happening and objects immediately. Notably, SpongeBob reminds him, somewhat ominously, "Don't worry, we're on your side," before blowing his house away. Come on, Homer would never totally destroy Flanders' house, or at least not intentionally. But this wasn't intentional either, as these two are extremely naive and irresponsible. Or they're Machiavellian sociopaths and are torturing him on purpose. Further research is needed. Either way, they're extremely inconsiderate, much like Homer. He intentionally humiliates Flanders by telling the whole town about what's happening. Marge eventually forces him to come clean, but the betrayal still cuts deep. There isn't anything like this in the SpongeBob example. It's a much simpler, "I hate you guys, goodbye forever." The mechanism for moving is slightly different between stories. Squidward sees this suspiciously well-timed advertisement who is actively seeking out new like-minded residents. He wasn't familiar with Tentacle Acres prior to this, whereas Flanders shows Maggie this figurine knowing that they're produced in Humbleton. Flanders had already built up this place in his mind as some pleasant paradise. Both Tentacle Acres and Humbleton represent the ultra-conformist society, where everyone must keep the same kind of lifestyle, where the houses and architecture all look exactly the same. Basically, Squidward and Flanders moved to horrible HOA communities. Humbleton feels more like a capitalist Disney town, where this figurine company is the major employer who calls all the shots. Flanders immediately goes to work, and they inform him that he has to shave his mustache. Tentacle Acres, by comparison, is played more like a creepy socialist utopia. I'm actually not sure how Tentacle Acres operates, because they're advertising for people to move in, but Squidward never seems to go to work, or anyone else for that matter. Well, except this guy is working. Maybe this is one of those wink-wink Dubai things, where they're secretly living off slaves. Or did Squidward just give them all his money, and he's in a movementarians-esque cult? Are they gonna try to steal his blood? Both Tentacle Acres and Humbleton feel pretty culty, they just arrived there from different directions. Whatever the case is, Ned and Squidward are enjoying that Kool-Aid. They're both realizing their greatest dreams. For Flanders, to be surrounded by the polite and pleasant. For Squidward, by snarky stick-in-the-muds. Squidward even gets an entire montage showing how much he's enjoying this place. The groceries, the interpretive dance, the clarinet trios. What a great time. Wait, are we having a great time? Okay, gotta say, this montage rules. Definitely my favorite thing in both episodes. Interestingly, Ned Flanders' montage shows the exact opposite. Flanders immediately ran into a point of friction with his mustache, and he montages around town, shocking everyone with his brazenly hairy upper lip. Even though Tentacle Acres and Humbleton represent similar things, the characters become disenchanted for different reasons. Squidward, falling into ennui, realizes he needs diversity in his life experiences. He misses the silly chaos in his life. Flanders runs afoul of the authoritarian aspect, restricting some of his personal freedoms. Wow, what does it say about Squidward that Flanders is the rebellious one here? Actually, maybe that's unfair. Because of the two freakouts, Squidward definitely has the bigger one. He steals a reef blower, starts goofing off, and terrorizes the whole community for the lulz. To the point that a Simpsons-like angry mob forms. Squidward's is a journey of disillusionment, whereas Flanders has accepted being a mustached outcast and is trying to tolerate it. I like how in both cases, the community delivers their notice in their overly formal and passive-aggressive ways. For Flanders, receiving this cute little figurine, for Squidward, the angry mob officially providing him an itemized list. At this point you might be wondering, what happened to the title character of these shows? Why are we following around their neighbors the whole time? In the case of The Simpsons, they fill out their 22-minute runtime with a B-plot about this asshole. The Simpsons takes a more balanced approach overall, providing Homer an arc about how much he misses his former neighbor. SpongeBob gets shoved aside in the narrative, only calling Squidward to beg him to come back. His character arc is taken more for granted, that of course he would miss his neighbor, presumably so he could torture him some more. Whereas Homer learns this lesson via not wanting to be tortured himself. In both instances, they travel to apologize in person. Patrick, who is the Marge equivalent, baked him an apology cake. Tentacle Acres is notably more racist than Humbleton, as they declare, "Your kind isn't welcome here." Wow, Tentacle Acres really is an HOA. When they do finally get inside and look for Squidward, SpongeBob keeps mistaking random people for their friend. You know, because to SpongeBob, all squids look the same. Hooray, racism for everybody. I want to go back to that German-themed village where there is no fascism. Homer has way less trouble than SpongeBob in finding his former neighbor and does formally apologize and ask him to return. SpongeBob sees Squidward rocketing away in a blaze of glory, and the episode calls it a day. The Simpsons, with its longer runtime, makes sure to tie up its loose ends, get rid of this loser, and throw Ned a party. Obviously, structurally, both episodes have much in common. They both follow the general template of neighbor character gets mad, moves to paradise, falls out of love with paradise, rebels against it, and decides to return home. A very clean Harmon story circle plot. However, the key difference between them is in their character focus. The SpongeBob episode is almost entirely about Squidward's journey, and spends relatively more time in Tentacle Acres. He independently becomes disillusioned and realizes that he is more like SpongeBob and Patrick than he realized. They never actually reconcile, everything is all based on his thoughts and feelings. The Simpsons version is much more relationship driven, that Flanders is driven away by a betrayal, and Homer learns to value his neighbor in his absence. Flanders hadn't totally reached the point of moving away from Humbleton yet. He was teetering on the edge, but it was Homer's heartfelt apology that won him over. His sense of disillusionment is much less pronounced overall. To be honest, this is my biggest issue with Home Away from Homer as an episode, that we don't spend much time in Humbleton. We don't get to fully experience how creepy and weird this place is. I like that the relationship angle is better developed, but I prefer SpongeBob's spin on this formula overall. If the neighbor character is going to move to some wacky new place, I want to see that place. But this isn't a showdown video, we're here to figure out if the sponge beat the Simps to the punch. So, on my patented 1 to 5 butter scale, with a score of 1 denoting completely different stories, and 5 being a total ripoff, I am giving this a score of 3 butters. While the general plot beats are almost identical, and the neighbor characters go through similar arcs, their actual journeys feel quite different. The Simpsons leaning into a more balanced personal perspective, while SpongeBob, as always, asks the bigger societal questions. So we must conclude that while the Simpsons had their own spin, SpongeBob kinda sorta did it first. It's clear that the Simpsons, in their 16th season, was looking over their shoulder at the hot new sensation at the rival kids network. They had already taken a shot at him in a previous episode, having him cackle evilly in heaven, and they thought they could just lift this idea and totally get away with it. Then afterward, they mocked them with a vicious Italian language parody. But they have awakened a sleeping giant, the one animated show that might actually outlive The Simpsons. Let me know in the comments what you think of these two episodes, and how badly The Simpsons plagiarized poor SpongeBob. Also, let me know if there are any other examples where another series may have beaten them to the punch. My sources have informed me that there was a rat within Mikey's crew far earlier than Bart's. Also, we could always go back to Lasagna Cat again. I might open this up to covering stuff that happened after The Simpsons, just so I can hit up Rocco's Rear Window parody. Let me know where I should go next. As always, thanks for watching.